Imagine a city where millions of footsteps echo through the streets every morning, where buildings pierce the clouds, defying the sky, where people from all corners of the world breathe in unison. Welcome to New York. This is the showcase of the modern world. The intersection of art, finance, culture, fashion, and innovation. Every corner is like a movie scene. Every street opens up to a different story. The heart of New York is Manhattan. The neon lights of Times Square turn night into day, while the elegance of Fifth Avenue draws a fine line through the soul of the city. On one side, the world's tallest building, One World Trade Center. On the other, the timeless grandeur of the Empire State Building. For most people, New York is the name of the order within this whirlwind. The crowd rising from the subway in the morning speeds up in front of Wall Street, slows down as it approaches Central Park, and the city suddenly begins to breathe. Perhaps New York's greatest paradox. Amidst hundreds of skyscrapers, a lush green world spanning 340 hectares. Central Park brings together thousands of people every morning, from joggers and cyclists to families and artists. It's not just a park. It's a place that calms the city's spirit and lets it breathe. In winter, the lake freezes over. In summer, concerts are held on lawns. When autumn arrives, the colors of the trees transform into a painting. Central Park leaves its mark not only on the heart of New York, but also in its memory. When talking about New York, Brooklyn deserves a separate mention. Once known as an industrial and working-class area, today it is home to one of the world's most creative communities. Dumbo's old warehouses have been converted into art galleries, while the smell of coffee mingles with hip-hop rhythms on the streets of Williamsburg. Looking at Manhattan's skyline from the Brooklyn Bridge, you understand once again why this city captivates millions of people. The lines reaching toward the sky are like history and the future meeting in the same frame. The Statue of Liberty, one of New York's symbols, is not just a statue, it is a symbol of hope for millions of people. At the beginning of the 1900s, the first thing immigrants arriving in America from Europe saw was this colossal figure. Ellis Island still holds thousands of stories within its walls today. People who once had dreams that fit inside a suitcase now form the foundation of one of the world's most important cities. Night falls in New York, but it never gets dark. Giant screens light up in Times Square, curtains rise on Broadway, and even in the subway tunnels, you can hear the sounds of another city. The nickname, City That Never Sleeps, is well deserved. The pace of the day is fast, but the rhythm of the night is completely different. The buildings shining in the sky, the yellow lights of taxis cruising through the city, and the sounds of street musicians blend together. New York is not a city for everyone. It is expensive, crowded, fast-paced. But once you get caught up in its rhythm, it won't let you go. Every moment is an opportunity, every street corner a new beginning. The diversity of its people, the convergence of cultures, and the freedom felt on its streets. All this makes New York not just a city, but an experience. The story of New York begins in the 1600s when the Dutch named these lands New Amsterdam. Established as a small trading colony on the banks of the Hudson River, this settlement quickly caught the attention of the British, and the city came under British rule in 1664. Its new name is now a legacy, New York. Over time, it became one of the largest ports in the United States. After the Industrial Revolution, this port welcomed millions of immigrants, completely changing the city's demographic structure. Walking through the streets of New York today, you can see every culture in the world, thanks to this historical foundation. New York has grown over the centuries not only through its economy, but also through its ideas. Freedom, opportunity, diversity. These three words are etched into the city's DNA. Harlem is one of New York's most powerful cultural centers. In the early 20th century, the movement known as the Harlem Renaissance brought African-American music, literature, and art to the world stage. Jazz legends were born here, and the streets were always filled with rhythm. The Apollo Theater is the heart of Harlem. Many famous artists first performed here, and the energy of the crowd made this stage legendary. Even today, graffiti can be seen on Harlem's walls, the sound of music fills the streets, and the warmth of neighborhood culture is palpable. It is one of the strongest proofs that the spirit of New York is not just about big buildings. Queens is known as the place on earth where the most diverse nationalities live together. While one street has Latin American vibes, a few blocks away the aromas of Asian cuisine fill the air. Just by looking at the food culture, it's clear that New York is a global mosaic. The large Chinese and Korean communities in Flushing, the Greek culture in Astoria, the South Asian atmosphere in Jackson Heights. Queens is like a city made up of countries. Each culture preserves its own identity while contributing to New York as a whole. This diversity is the most powerful source that fuels the city's energy and dynamism. Despite enduring difficult times over the years, the Bronx is now one of the strongest veins of culture. It is a neighborhood where hip-hop culture was born, street art flourished, and basketball courts created legends. The Bronx Zoo is one of the world's largest urban zoos. Yankee Stadium is not just a sports venue, but almost a temple. The roaring cheers that echo through the stands on game days are part of the Bronx's energy. Today, the Bronx is on the rise again with its revitalized living spaces, artistic projects, and community culture. One of the most important reasons for New York's global power is Wall Street. The heart of the world financial system beats here. The New York Stock Exchange and giant investment companies are the center of decisions that drive the global economy. Wall Street's fast pace defines New York's work culture, a world where even minutes carry great value, where competition is relentless. This intensity brings great success on the one hand, while keeping the city's rhythm constantly high on the other. New York is not just a financial center, it is also a cultural capital. The Metropolitan Museum of Art is one of the world's largest and most comprehensive museums. MoMA is a temple of modern art. The spiral architecture of the Guggenheim is a work of art in itself. Thousands of people are enchanted every night on Broadway stages. In this respect, New York is considered the heart of the art world. Every step you take, there is a street performance, every corner a gallery, every neighborhood its own cultural fabric. This intensity makes New York not just a city that lives, but a city that creates. The heart of life in New York is the city's extensive street network. Thanks to the grid plan, almost all of Manhattan's streets intersect at right angles. This layout adapts to the city's fast pace and facilitates transportation. In the morning hours, subway entrances begin to fill up. People move toward Manhattan from different boroughs. Work, education, and service sectors are the main reasons for this congestion. The diversity of people walking on the streets is remarkably high. Each individual follows their own route, therefore, walking speed is a symbolic element that defines the city's tempo. Public transportation is a fundamental part of city life in New York, and a large portion of the population uses subway and bus lines instead of private vehicles. New York's gastronomic structure reflects the city's cultural diversity. Each neighborhood carries its own culinary culture. Asian and Middle Eastern influenced dishes are common in Queens. Latin American influences can be seen in the Bronx, while Manhattan offers a wide range, from international restaurant chains to independent local businesses. Many well-known elements of New York cuisine have emerged from daily life habits. Products such as bagels, pizza slices, and hot dogs are considered symbolic flavors of the city. However, they have become widespread mainly due to their suitability for fast consumption, practical transportation, and the pace of work. This situation demonstrates how closely gastronomic culture is linked to city life. The subway system forms the backbone of New York's infrastructure. Launched in 1904, the subway network now operates like the city's veins, with hundreds of kilometers of tracks. The subway system stands out from many other cities by operating 24 hours a day. This constant accessibility is a technical necessity for the city's dynamic structure. In addition, the bridges connecting the city, particularly the Brooklyn Bridge, Manhattan Bridge, and Queensboro Bridge, are structures that shape the city's character in terms of both transportation and engineering. Every day, hundreds of thousands of vehicles and pedestrians use these bridges to travel from one area to another. Tunnels are also an important part of the infrastructure. Crossings such as the Lincoln Tunnel and Holland Tunnel are critical connection points between Manhattan and New Jersey. New York is not only a cultural or economic center, it is also an important academic region. Institutions such as Columbia University, New York University, NYU, and the City University of New York, CUNY, are globally renowned in the fields of research and education. These universities operate across a wide range of disciplines, including medicine, law, engineering, social sciences, and the arts. The city's extensive library network is also noteworthy. The New York Public Library is one of the world's largest public libraries and is heavily used by both researchers and students. New York's future strategy focuses particularly on technology and sustainability. In recent years, renewable energy projects have been developed in many areas, and old industrial sites have been transformed into technology hubs. Hudson Yards is one of the most concrete examples of this transformation. With its modern buildings, transportation systems, and environmental planning, it offers important insights into the direction the city will take in the future. The city is also working on smart transportation systems, carbon reduction plans, and digital infrastructure improvements. These efforts form the technical foundations of New York's goal of becoming a sustainable metropolis. New York's neighborhood structure plays an important role in shaping community relations. Each neighborhood preserves its own cultural structure, economic situation, and way of life. Therefore, there is no single lifestyle throughout the city. On the contrary, many different microcultures coexist under the same roof. Public spaces are also an important part of the city's daily life. Parks, public markets, squares, and waterfronts are areas where people spend their time. Hudson River Park and Brooklyn Bridge Park are among the important areas that meet the need for public space despite the city's dense development. New York has been a hub where different cultures, communities, and millions of people from various parts of the world have lived together for centuries. The city offers a comprehensive example of how a modern metropolis is shaped through its economic structure, historical background, transportation networks, academic institutions, public spaces, and cultural diversity. New York's current structure is formed not only by large buildings or famous landmarks, but also by daily life practices, infrastructure systems, technological transformations, and socio-cultural interactions. Each neighborhood has a distinct identity, and when these identities come together, the city gains a multi-layered integrity. Therefore, New York represents not only the physical boundaries of a city, but also a broad perspective on how a society can be organized. It is a dynamic metropolis that is constantly changing with its historical past, current structure, and future projects. In new videos, we will continue to explore different cities, cultures, and historical processes. If you want to support the content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video. See you in the next episode.